You have no idea how much they think about you until you hear the silence between their words, until you notice the way your name still lives inside conversations you were never supposed to hear. There are people who leave your life physically, but never leave it mentally. And the strange part is, most of them will never admit it. Pride is a powerful mask. Ego can bury emotions so deeply that even the person feeling them begins pretending they no longer exist. But human beings are haunted by what truly touched them, especially by the people who made them feel understood in a world that constantly misunderstood them. Maybe you think they forgot you because they stopped texting. Maybe you assume silence means indifference, but silence is often where obsession grows strongest. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist not only persists, but will grow in size." And people often resist the memories that affected them the most. Somewhere, at random hours of the night, your name crosses their mind like an old song they never fully stopped listening to. A street reminds them of you. A phrase echoes your voice. Someone laughs the way you used to laugh, and suddenly they disappear into memory for a few seconds longer than they meant to. This video is not about fantasy. It's about the invisible psychological truth of emotional imprinting, the way certain souls leave fingerprints on another person's mind long after the connection changes. And by the end of this video, you may finally understand why some people never truly move on from you. Part 1. The mind replays what the heart couldn't finish. Human beings are unfinished creatures. We replay conversations in the shower. We imagine alternate endings while staring at ceilings at 2 a.m. We reopen emotional doors in our minds long after they closed in reality. Why? Because the mind is addicted to unresolved emotion. When someone truly feels something for you, deep admiration, love, regret, guilt, longing, your presence becomes psychologically embedded inside them, not because they choose it consciously, but because emotionally intense experiences alter memory itself. Think about it. You rarely obsess over ordinary moments. You obsess over the moments that almost became something more, the almost relationship, the words never said, the apology never delivered, the goodbye that didn't feel complete. That is what keeps people mentally attached to you. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "Invisible threads are the strongest ties." And he was right. Some of the deepest attachments are never publicly expressed. They exist privately, in memories, fantasies, regrets, and silent comparisons. Sometimes the person who hurt you thinks about you constantly because you became the mirror they cannot escape. Your kindness exposed their emotional immaturity. Your absence exposed what they took for granted. And now every new person they meet is unconsciously compared to the emotional standard you left behind. This is why certain people circle back years later. Not because time magically created feelings, but because time revealed what they lost. Modern life distracts people temporarily. Social media, entertainment, dating apps, all of it numbs reflection. But eventually, silence returns. And when silence returns, truth becomes louder. That is when your memory visits them, not as a dramatic movie scene, but quietly, while driving alone, while hearing your favorite song, while watching someone else fail to understand them the way you once did. And that's the strange thing about emotional connection. The body may move forward, but the mind often stays behind. Part 2. Why people hide, how much they think about you. Human psychology is filled with contradictions. A person can think about you every single day and still never reach out. They can replay your memories constantly while pretending you no longer matter. And if you've ever been confused by someone's distance after deep emotional connection, this is the part most people fail to understand. People hide what has power over them, especially in a world that teaches emotional suppression as strength. From childhood, many people learn to associate vulnerability with danger. They are taught to appear unaffected, to stay composed, to never reveal how deeply someone impacted them. So instead of expressing longing honestly, they disguise it through silence, avoidance, pride, or even emotional detachment. Carl Jung believed that the things we bury emotionally do not disappear. They descend into the subconscious and begin controlling us indirectly. That's why some people suddenly become irritated when they hear your name, why they stalk your social media but never interact, why they disappear, then randomly return months later as if no time passed at all. Because internally, the emotional connection never truly left. And here is the painful truth. Sometimes people distance themselves not because they stopped caring, but because caring became too overwhelming. You represented something real, and real connections terrify emotionally unprepared people, because once someone experiences genuine emotional depth, ordinary interactions begin to feel empty. This is why some people run from the very connection they secretly crave. The philosopher Blaise Pascal once wrote, "The heart has its reasons which reason knows nothing of." Human beings are not logical when emotions become deep. They become defensive, conflicted, self-sabotaging. Have you ever noticed how some people become strangely cold after moments of intimacy? That is often fear disguised as indifference. Fear of needing someone, fear of losing control, fear of being seen too clearly, and perhaps the deepest fear of all, fear that you mattered more to them than they ever intended. So they create distance, they act casual, they convince themselves they've moved on. But the mind cannot easily erase emotional imprinting, especially when someone touched parts of them that no one else could reach. That's why they think about you during emotionally vulnerable moments, late nights, failures, loneliness, heartbreak, exhaustion, because your memory became associated with emotional safety, understanding, or emotional intensity. In psychology, this is sometimes called emotional anchoring. Certain people become attached to specific emotional states inside us, and once that happens, even years later, a small reminder can reopen an entire emotional landscape. A smell, a song, a city, a sentence. Suddenly, you exist in their mind again, not because they planned it, but because some connections leave permanent psychological fingerprints. And the irony is this: the more someone tries not to think about you, the more mentally present you become. Part 3, the signs you still live in their mind. Most people think attachment is obvious. They think if someone misses you, they will confess it dramatically. They imagine emotional truth always arrives loudly, but real human emotion is far quieter than that. The deepest feelings often reveal themselves indirectly, in patterns, in timing, in small psychological leaks people cannot fully control. Because no matter how composed someone appears externally, the subconscious always leaves clues. One of the clearest signs someone constantly thinks about you is inconsistency. They pull away, then suddenly return. They go silent, then randomly check in. They watch your stories without speaking. They ask mutual friends about you casually while pretending it means nothing. Why? Because emotionally attached people live in internal conflict. Part of them wants distance to protect themselves. Another part desperately wants connection, and this inner war creates unpredictable behavior. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once said, "The most painful state of being is remembering the future, particularly the one you'll never have." That is exactly what happens when someone imagines a life with you, but loses access to it. Your absence becomes more than absence. It becomes psychological haunting, and haunting changes people. Sometimes they begin revisiting old messages. Sometimes they compare everyone new to you without realizing it. Sometimes they mention your favorite movie, your phrases, your habits, small pieces of you unconsciously absorbed into their personality. This happens because emotionally significant relationships reshape identity itself. You leave traces inside people, not just memories, patterns. Maybe they now communicate differently because of you. Maybe they became softer because you showed them gentleness. Maybe they fear vulnerability because losing you wounded them more deeply than they expected. That is why truly meaningful connections are never temporary psychologically. Even after separation, your emotional influence can continue shaping someone for years. And strangely, the strongest sign someone thinks about you is often emotional overreaction. When your name affects their mood instantly, when they pretend not to care too aggressively, when they become distant the moment emotions surface. Indifference is calm, suppression is tense. There's a difference. Buddha once taught that attachment is the root of suffering. But what many misunderstand is this. Attachment is not only wanting someone physically. Attachment is mental continuation. It is when the mind keeps returning to a person long after circumstances changed. And that is exactly why some people cannot fully release you. Because your existence became emotionally intertwined with their identity, their regrets, their comfort, or their longing for meaning. You became part of their inner dialogue, so even when they meet new people, a hidden part of their mind still searches for fragments of you. The way you listened, the way you understood silence, the way your presence made life feel emotionally safe for a moment. And once someone experiences that kind of connection, forgetting becomes far harder than pretending. Part 4. Why some souls never truly forget each other. Not every connection is meant to last forever externally. Some people enter your life for only a season, a few months, a year, maybe even just one unforgettable conversation at the right moment in your life. But time has very little to do with emotional impact. Some souls touch us so deeply that they alter the architecture of our inner world permanently. After them, we do not see love the same way. We do not see loneliness the same way. Sometimes we do not even see ourselves the same way. And this is why forgetting becomes impossible. Because you are not merely remembering a person anymore. You are remembering who you became around them. The ancient philosopher Lao Tzu once wrote, "Being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage." Real emotional connection changes human beings at a spiritual level. It awakens parts of us that were sleeping, and once awakened, those parts can never fully return to sleep. That is why certain people continue thinking about you years later, not because they are weak, not because they failed to move on, but because some emotional experiences become part of the soul's memory. Modern culture treats human connection like something replaceable. Just move on. Find someone else. Forget them. But the human psyche does not function like a machine. Deep attachment cannot simply be deleted through logic, especially when someone met you during a period of emotional transformation. Maybe you appeared during their loneliness. Maybe you believed in them when nobody else did. Maybe your presence became associated with healing, hope, safety, or emotional aliveness. And the mind never easily abandons what once made it feel alive. That is why people suddenly remember you during life transitions, during heartbreaks, during success, during failure, during moments when life becomes emotionally honest again. Because beneath all distractions, the heart remembers what was real. And perhaps this is the final truth most people discover too late. The people who think about you the most are often the ones who never fully told you how much you meant to them. Their silence was never proof of emptiness. Sometimes it was proof of depth they didn't know how to express. So if someone from your past still crosses your mind unexpectedly, don't always assume it is weakness. Some connections are rare. Some people arrive carrying lessons, healing, pain, awakening, or transformation that permanently marks the human spirit. And maybe that's why certain souls never truly disappear from each other's lives. They simply continue existing quietly, in memory, in emotion, in silence. So tonight, when someone suddenly enters your mind for no reason, ask yourself this: did they truly disappear from your life, Or have they simply been living invisibly inside your story all along? And perhaps somewhere, at this exact moment, you are crossing their mind too. If this video spoke to something deep inside you, leave a comment with the word remembered, and subscribe for more cinematic journeys into human psychology, philosophy, love, silence, and the hidden truths people rarely talk about.